Last homework page, homework 40. I'm still going to be dealing with limits, but before we go back to talking about limits, we are going to determine points of discontinuity from a graph. A graph is continuous if you can keep your pencil on it and go from one end of the graph to the other end of the graph without picking up your pencil. So if I started here and I ran my pencil along here, in order to get to the next part of my graph, I have to jump up here. I have to lift my pencil up off the paper. And so at this point, my graph is discontinuous. Then I'd go from here to here. Again, to get to the next part of my line, I've got to jump here. So here my graph is discontinuous. Here again, I'd have to go from here to here. I've got a hole again, so it's discontinuous. And then it goes down to the end of my graph. So on this one, I have 3 points of discontinuity. I'm looking at the x values of the point. So at -3, at -1, and at +1 are my points where my graph is discontinuous. So basically they're telling you your graph is continuous if you can go from one end to the other without picking up your pen at all. But if I have to pick up my pen to get to the next part of my graph, oh, there's a break in my graph. It's discontinuous. So number 2, whoops. Again, I have my function. I'm looking at my graph between the interval of -4 and 4. I'm looking for points where my graph is discontinuous. So here I'm going along my graph, but in order to get to here, I would have to jump off of there. So here is a point where I'm discontinuous. I'm going to start here. I'm going to go down here, oops, to go up here. Again, I have a break in my graph, so I have a point that's discontinuous. So on this one, I only have 2 spots where I'm discontinuous, at -2 and at +2. So -2 and 2 would be my 2 points where my graph is discontinuous. So again, if you look at that number 3, if I'm looking for my points where my graph is discontinuous, I can see right here is a spot where I have a hole in my graph, right here, and right here. So at -1, +1, and +3. So in looking at your graph, if it's asking you if it's discontinuous, you're looking for where, if I were tracing my graph, would I have to pick up my pen to go to the next point? Or look for the holes in your graph. There your point is discontinuous.